Hey, Patty. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine and dandy. Oh,
You'll have to excuse me. I'm working from my car. I got stuck in traffic. There was an accident, so I just had to pull over and do what I needed to do from the car. Can everybody hear me?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
It's the dragon, Siobhan.
I know, right?
We got to make a little light of it, okay?
Yeah.
He said, pull over.
I know, but I had only said yesterday to my friend that I wanted to be able to sit and watch a sunset. And I literally pulled over in front of the ocean, and the most perfect parking spot opened immediately as I turned the corner. So I am literally looking out at surfers in the ocean with the sun setting. It's so beautiful.
There you go.
You can't get better than that. So I may lose a light. If I do, I'll just turn my camera off and we can hear my audio. But I didn't have a light in my car with me, unfortunately, which I would normally have when I'm speaking.
Well, you can have a moonlight service.
Exactly, Patty, right? If we can just create like that, what else can we do? Uh-huh. I know. This is what I love when we start manifesting and saying yes and opening up spaces. Magic happens. Literally, magic happens. So there's still a few people coming in, but I'd like to start getting us grounded.
Ooh.
So let's start to connect with the earth beneath us. Bringing ourselves into the awareness that we are fully supported at this very moment in time. Imagine now as you allow the earth to be beneath you, supporting you completely. Become aware of that presence as if it was your best friend, somebody you completely trust. Even if that's a hard thing for you to do normally. Just imagine the earth is allowing you to completely trust her. And then imagine that everything else is in harmony when you're in that co-creative relationship space with her. You start to manifest faster, your health, your vibration goes higher. You feel aligned in a way that you haven't felt for a long time. And all because you completely are in a place of trust. There's so many things currently in the world that are pushing our concept of trust, pushing us to go to fear, pushing us to go to limitation and lack. Wars, political fronts, weather fronts, even family relationships, maybe love relationships. So many things are in fluctuation. But as you are an infinite soul with quantum potentiality, isn't it just a true statement to say that at the highest level of potentiality, you understand and know that you are completely safe? That the earth is going to always resource you, support you. That this universal energy of quantum or God source or whatever language you use for that energy is always going to support you. And that when you fall out of that energy alignment, things start to go into different energy spaces around you. But when we are in that knowingness, in that space of allowing, in that space of receiving, everything we need starts to create. Everything we need starts to get drawn into our spaces and places. Just feel into the energy center of you. Maybe put your hands on your heart or your belly. Ask yourself, are you in the receiving of this idea that you are resourced, that you are divine, that you can trust? If the answer to that is maybe or no, or an awareness appears in your space to give you an idea of where you may be in opposition to that concept, take note of it right now. Don't go into an argument with it or into an oppositional space with it. Just approach it as a curiosity. Isn't it curious that sometimes I create in a way that doesn't support me? Isn't it curious that sometimes I lack trust? Isn't it curious that I have developed this issue in my physical body? Or isn't it curious that I have developed this limitation in my financial flow, or whatever it is? Curiosity doesn't threaten anybody or anything. It doesn't threaten the ego, which is always in our protection energy mode. It doesn't threaten our soul, who always knows that we are complete and divine. It doesn't threaten our emotional or our mental or our physical. So it's a really good conversation to have with yourself. Isn't it curious that? And another phrase I use frequently when I'm decoding ways of being is, what do I need to know more about that to support myself? Again, it's not threatening. It's just an open question to allow and receive your intuition, your soul, your higher self to start downloading what it is you need to understand and know so you can move the needle. So just play with this concept for a moment. And if you receive just positive energy and there was no awareness of anything that's blocking you from receiving from the earth, from the quantum, everything is already in flow for you. Then ask the question, what more can I say yes to? What more can I allow? When we open ourselves to just be in the receiving of our intuition, the receiving of all that can support us, our higher self turns up, our guidance team turns up, God source quantum energy turns up. Often we limit ourselves in what it is we allow ourselves to receive, because the ego mind doesn't have the concept of the expansion that our divine self does. It may be limited by ancestral beliefs. It may be limited by our cultural beliefs. It may be limited by conversations of things people said to us throughout our lives or experiences we had. But the soul has none of these limitations. The quantum has none of these limitations. Notice now as you're asking these questions, whether it's anything that you're curious about that has been interfering with your full receiving, or what more could you allow? Notice if the physical body has a response. Where in the physical body is trying to get your attention right now? And how did your energy shift as you brought yourself into that awareness of even asking the body what it wants to show you? And maybe multiple parts of the physical may be getting attention or wanting attention. And that's okay. Just track the energy to wherever it's looking for you to follow it to. You can use the question, what do I need to understand and know? And then let's focus on your environment, on your home. And if you're not in your home right now, like me, I'm in my car, but imagine you are in your home. And then ask your home what it needs you to understand or know. Getting a sense as you ask this question, if there's a part of your home that responds to you. Maybe there's a room specifically that responds to you. Maybe there's an area in your home that's looking to get attention. And that may be an area that wants focus, needs focus. Maybe it's an area that really wants to show you energy that is blocking you or slowing you down, or needs to shift and move. Or maybe it's an area of your home that's ready to expand more, ready to receive more, ready to have more love pour into it. And imagine now, in this expanded space of the belief in quantum and the higher soul, your divine self, see if you can get an energy recognition of that aspect of you. And if you can, imagine now you're going to walk that aspect of you around your current home. Noticing where that quantum divine aspect of you lights up, where it wants to spend more time, where it wants to spend less time. Is there anything that's happening in your environment with you and your divine self and your home and property interacting with each other? This divine aspect of you knows everything you need for your expansion, for your evolution, for your highest soul expression on the planet. And your home and property knows how to interact with this aspect of you. Is your home wanting to support your expansion, your evolution, your divine nature? Is there resistance? Is there flow? Just get a sense of this energy. See what it wants to reveal to you. And then thank your home and property for the awareness building, for the support. See if there's anything it needs from you to support it. Maybe it needs some energy clearing. Maybe it needs some feng shui up leveling. Maybe it needs some decluttering. And thank your divine self, the quantum energy, the infinite source of potentiality, and your higher soul. And then bring yourself back into the awareness again of the physical body, your home, your body temple, in time and space. Feel the chair beneath you supporting you. Thank your body temple for its presence on this planet. Wriggle the fingers, wriggle the toes. Take a deep breath in. And then take a moment to journal or take note of anything you need to remember from that expression and experience. And feel free to put any notes you want in the chat box if you want to be witness for something or share something. And excuse me for turning off my camera, but I'm literally now in the dark. And the sky is beautiful and orange and turquoise, and oh, it's like sitting in front of magic. So I'd love to hear if anyone wants to unmute and let me know how that was, if they got any insights. Because I'm on my phone, I have limited capacity to see if anyone's doing anything. So just unmute and jump on in. That sparkly fairy energy, beautiful. Thank you, Cassie.
I got a message from my home. This is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Love.
Hi. My home told me that it wants a good cleaning and decluttering. So I will get to that. And when the other aspect of me did the walkthrough, the first thing she said was, "Oh, girl." Like, how are you living this way? And she assured me that she will help me to clean and declutter. So that's what I got. And the final message after all of that was that it would like a good saging. So that's what I got. It was a beautiful process. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice receiving. Well done. Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, this is Casey. I had a similar message where I live. I got it needs cleaning and decluttering. It's not too bad, but there's pockets, but it needs more sparkly energy and fresh air, movement and airing out. And I realized that this house has probably never had its carpet shampooed, so that's like my next thing to do because I think it's way overdue. So anyway, thank you. That was quite beautiful.
Oh, you're welcome, Pat. I love your hair. It's so curly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
I guess you can't see my hand waving.
I can't, honey. No, sorry. I literally have the tiny screen on my phone. So
That's okay. Well, I feel really supported by my house, but right now we're going into some transition. I'm painting or having painted some areas, sort of a sage color, very pretty. And we walked through, of course, I need to declutter. And then there's one area that really needs cleaning just so that I can have it for more use. But overall, my house is very happy. And
beautiful.
yeah, I love my house. I feel so supported here. But it's just a constant process to continue to give it as much as it gives me.
Thank you, Joanna. Beautiful. And I know how much love you pour into your home.
Just got out of the hot tub. That's why my hair looks so good.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this year, I know some of you have already taken my Feng Shui training last weekend with me. And I spoke very clearly on the new energies that are arriving on February 4th. So although the Lunar New Year is February 10th, the Chinese New Year officially, in Feng Shui, the flying stars, which indicates the new astrology for your home for the year, actually arrives on February 4th. And it will start to orientate the energy in your home into a different perspective or way of being. So that was partly the energy I wanted you to connect with really clearly today, because we're only a few days away from that. How is your home interacting with you? And you know, when the new energy arrives, it's already starting to be felt in your space, but when it arrives on February 4th, you might start to feel some shifts in your environment. Your environment may be like, okay, let's speed this decluttering up, or hello, suddenly you may have this huge rush of energy to, you know, light candles in areas you haven't lit candles in before, because a lot of our home needs fire energy this year. The energy that's coming in is the wooden yang dragon. And if we think of the dragon brings fire and power and energy and passion. And it can also bring aggression if it's overly fiery, and destructive energy, and competition is also in alignment with that fire energy. And because it's a yang dragon that's coming in this year, we are leaving the yin rabbit. And the yin rabbit is feminine. The yin rabbit was all about journaling and reading books and going inside and self-reflection and pulling away a little bit, but also building community in a very family-orientated sense to community. The rabbit is all about family, and they are in their burrows and they like to just cuddle up in their burrows. So it's a very cozy and sometimes even fragile energy, because the rabbit is a much more fragile animal than the dragon. But they're also determined and they're also strong. But this is the energy that we've been inside of for the last year. And then we're heading into dragon. And you can see the opposition in those experiences, right? This tiny little rabbit, all cozy and wanting to hide in its little burrow. And then this dragon energy, fire breathing, power energy that's coming in on February 4th. And so they're very, very different. And that energy that arrives on this February 4th, we move also from a period 8 energy, which we were in for the last 20 years. And that energy was to do with the masculine, young male energy, where they were allowed to succeed. And it was to do with technology development and app development and real estate development. And you'll see, if we look outwards at our society, that a lot of the people that are influencing and making money were these young male energies, and also young women that were influencing us to buy things and buy this. We developed an app for that. We've made a new way of making your time easier by using this, this, and this. But it was all young people. And this new next 20 years is actually all about the middle-aged woman and older. It's a 9 period. It's the final in the sequence of the 100 and 80-year sequence, it's the final 20 years in that sequence. So we haven't had this sequence before in our lifetimes. And it is the sequence that supports the rise of the divine feminine. It supports the power and influence of women, particularly older women with wisdom. It allows us to become more visible. It allows us to have more visibility in social media with our words, with our products, with our power, with our healing arts, with our metaphysics. It brings us into places of fame and reputation. It's a completely different energy, and it arrives at the same time on February 4th. So the positives of that is, for most people here, we are in healing arts. We are in using our words. We're writers, we're producers of programs, we're light workers. And so this next 20 years is there to support us. We have to learn how to harness that energy so it doesn't go into the negative, but the energy is different than it was for the last 20 years. So if you struggled in the last 20 years with your magic, visibility, etc., this is now the time where you can really start anchoring in the way of your new beingness. And I think that is so powerful. And I think it'll help really bring evolution to our planet. So it's seen that the next 20 years is going to create a massive evolution. And the metaphysics is one of the areas on holistic well-being that is going to thrive in the next 20 years. Also, AI is going to thrive in the next 20 years, which is almost in opposition to that. However, we can harness that AI to support our businesses and give us more time for our healing arts if we know what we're doing. But it is going to grow exponentially at the same way that our metaphysics and our holistic healing arts are growing. And so when we look at this in our homes, the area that is most powerful in this next 20 years is going to be the south area of our home. This is where the 9 has its original power space. It's where, if we go back to the origin of the Bagua in classical Feng Shui, the 9 resides in the south. And the south is all to do with fame and reputation and the middle daughter or middle-aged woman. So this is why this has become a very auspicious time. And so the south is also a very auspicious place for the next 20 years. Now, depending if you get me to do a classical Feng Shui of your home, or you've already had that done, you will know that you have 3 numbers inside each section of your Bagua or your energy matrix of your property. And you have 2 permanent numbers, they're called, which are based on the construction time of your property. They're like the birth astrology of your property. And then the annual number, which is changes every year on the 4th or 5th of February with the new astrology coming in, that also is a huge influence for the year. So when we did our training on Saturday, I went through the energy matrix in the 9 sections and gave you the visiting astrology personality of each star that's visiting each section for the year. So those students got to understand and know what planetary energy, what flying star energy was influencing, say, your marriage section or your prosperity section or your inner child section, or your family and community section, or your health and well-being section. And based on that, orientates how you should treat all of those areas of your house this year. But the overall energy that is visiting this year is so different than the last 20 that I wanted you to become really aware of the subtle energies that you're moving into. So the 8 energy was very much to do with the earth. It was a grounding energy, a balancing energy for the last 20 years. And now we're going into fire. We're going into passion. We're going into desire. We're going into energy at a whole different, like you can even just think about that in an element form. The difference between earth and fire is huge, right? They're so different to each other. So be aware that as that energy comes in, notice on, the weekend and the next week, what shifts are happening internally for you. It may bring up energies that have been dormant that want to get noticed or supported. It may bring up anger that needs to be released as that fire energy comes in. It may bring up moments of you getting much more passionate about subjects that you've been like only apathetical about before, or areas of your career, or areas of your friendships, or areas of your romance that may become more passionate, more engaging. So just be aware of that. This shift is huge, and it's very, very different than what we've been in for 20 years. And another thing that really comes with this new energy that arrives on the February 4th is that collaboration and co-creation is now a given way of being for the next 20 years. In the 8 period, it was a much more individualized energy. But fire is an element that can't actually exist on its own. It needs wood to fuel it, to set it alight, so it has to be fed by wood. It can be dampened down or put out by water. Earth can actually dampen it slightly by, if we put earth onto fire, it dampens the embers down. We put water onto it, it pours it out. If we put metal into the fire, it melts it. So start to think of collaborating, even if you've only ever worked in an individualized way before. Opportunities to co-create will start to appear in front of you. Start to say, with discernment, obviously, yes to more and more of those opportunities. Using your discernment to see if they serve you, are they valuable, do they feed your energy, do they make you feel potentially that you might become drained, then they're obviously not a good match for you. But it is the time where co-creation is going to really start coming into a new level of expression, and a new level where we can access it. And I think that's very, very exciting, particularly for women, because we do this naturally, and because we are, in the metaphysical world, in the holistic world. It is beautiful to draw on other people's influences and ideas and co-create together, to create workshops together, to create summits together, to make products together, to even refer clients to each other. And more of this is going to start now in the next 20 years. So I'm just really excited to share that with you, because I think it's going to be part of the reason that metaphysics as a form of healing arts is going to rise because we can co-create together and influence at a bigger way, rather than me influencing the 1,500 people on my Instagram account or, my LinkedIn account or whatever. I then can co-create with Joanna and Michelle and Casey, and we can create something that influences 5,000 people because we bring all our communities together. And that's what's going to start happening. We are going to start opening doorways. And when we look at it that way, we start to have we get to a tipping point, which we mightn't have received or got to before. So when I'm saying all this to you, what is in your awareness of this new energy arriving and how you want to receive it? Or is there any awarenesses around what you want to do to start co-creating with it? You can either unmute, I can't see you raise your hand, so you can unmute and let me know, or you can put it in the chat box. I do see the chat throw themselves up when people type.
Hi, Siobhan. During when we were doing the walkthrough of the home, funny, somebody messaged me through the Facebook box, and I was wondering about them, like, because I haven't heard from them in 2 years. They just messaged me about a collaboration. Yeah. Of helping nurses in group settings, so there's big collaboration. And I'm like, okay, so I held it until you were done. I do have a question now. I know in the South, right? The ladies' room there is SW, right?
Yeah.
Southwest. Yeah, and I was looking at the stars, and the 9 goes in there, right? And the 7's in the South. Is that 7-star going to be like it was?
It is a little bit, and the 7 is still going to bring up the fighting swords and metal. We're probably going to need to put fire in there to help melt that anger energy.
Okay, because I know that's also in the center, so lots of lots of peace. I actually got these candles years ago, and they're shaped like apples. And I found them last year, and I'm like, oh, peace candles. That's what I intended with those. So
I love it.
I got them in 2 spots right now. I had 4 of them. 2 were red and 2 were yellow. And I'm like, I know where the red ones are going, and now the yellow ones are going over there. But yeah, because I was a little bit like concerned about that 7 being right where you're talking about. I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I heard it was like also a backstabber and
Yeah.
kind of a robber. Yeah.
That's where the competitive
So
energy can come in. So, we have to really be mindful of that with the 7s and where the 7 is this year, that it can bring up competition. It's even though that South is the most powerful position for the next 20 years because of the original sitting of the 9. This year it has to be remedied, and it also has the 3 Shahs visiting, which also can create that little bit of energy that we need to be nice to and careful of. So we do need to remedy that South for sure. That's what I was covering on the workshop last weekend, was where to put the remedies and where the Grand Duke is visiting and where the 3 Shahs are and where the Supo is, and all of how, for those that don't know a lot about Feng Shui, the three shas are three destructive energies that move themselves around your home. And depending on the areas they sit in, you don't want to dig or do construction in those areas or make, really loud banging or drumming. And then you also need to put a saltwater cure in the areas where they're visiting, so that the negativity that could be given off by them is absorbed by the saltwater cures. And the Grand Duke is a bit like a bully. He kind of comes in with a strong energy, and we need to put an offering in the areas where he visits. So that's what I was covering on the workshop, a lot of those details of all of the nuances of where to put the saltwater cures, where not to dig, where to be careful of and mindful of noise and stuff like that. So I have recordings of that workshop. It's a 3-hour, 15 minutes, and then it comes with a manual and cheat sheets of all of the different remedies to put in and where to put the saltwater cures, where not to dig, where the peach blossom is powerful, in which areas. And the peach blossom is an energy that can be activated for romance and career success if you're single, and or in a really solid relationship.
Wow.
So
Well,
I hope that answered you, honey.
Yeah, very interesting. I have this, what you want to call a lucky cat. I don't know if you know what that is, but it waves
Yes,
its little paw.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been testing it, and I moved it around like to each room in the house. And I noticed I'll leave it there for, overnight, and then I'll be like, okay, what happens today? And I'm noticing what it does in each sector. And it's wild. I'm like, ooh. So I think I got to get a couple more. So I'm
That's
like,
great.
oh, I put it over there. I put it over there today, and I'm getting collaboration, So yeah. And my phone rang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great experiment, and I was saying that to people in the workshop as well. When you place an energy, spend time with that new remedy. Don't just like throw all the remedies in at the same time, because then you don't know what does what, and you don't know if something is not going in the direction you wanted to. You don't know which element you entered in what section is in opposition. So I said, put in the cure for the west first, because that's the 5 and that needs to be instantly supported, and said remedy that and sit with it for a week, and then see which energy space wants your support next. And then just as you said, leave it and see how it does, because it's so hard to allow your home has to up level itself too, right? It has to get used to the frequency and the vibration of all the elements. And it needs to shift, because this is a big shift, like to go from an 8 of earth to a 9 of fire. Your home is like going to be going, wee, what's happening? And the earth is like, okay, we're shifting. And so as not only is your body temple shifting and your environment shifting, and then you have to reharmonize and co-create together. So it's beautiful when you do it little by little and you see exactly what works or doesn't work. I love that concept.
Yeah, we have to, move things around, I think, too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. All right, my love.
it's
I'm
a lot of learning.
Yes, I know. I'm aware it's 6:30 and I'm now in the complete darkness. I can see nothing. So I'm going to get us just to focus back in our body temples again. And I am going to just do a little closing for us all. And thank you so much for your patience with me, with not being able to see me sitting here in the dark at the beach. I'm very grateful that I was able to be here with you at all. And it's so wonderful when I get to spend time with you all. I really, really feeds me. I love it. I love this community. I love how we're growing together and getting to know each other. And I want you just to take a moment now to consider that this is a tribe of souls that we all have known each other before. We have probably all co-created before. So just allow yourself into the recognition of the magic that grows here within this group. So, you know, over this next year, as we co-create, what even more may come in, what more magic may come in. And, you know, I'm creating a 40-day incubator for abundance that starts on February 5th to start again amplifying this manifesting light energy of abundance and prosperity and co-creation that we can all hold together. So if you are interested in that or think you might be interested in that, I'll be sending out with this recording a sign up for that and allowing you to say yes to being inside a solid, anchored, safe container to explore any area within you that has not 100% aligned with receiving. And sometimes we did this last year for 40 days, and what came up was magnificent. People were recognizing ancestral stuff and family stuff in the immediate family, but also through the whole lineage line. People were recognizing ways that they had sabotaged themselves and held themselves back and, you know, disconnected from community. And it was really, really beautiful awareness building, and people were having good results from it as well, not just in receiving money, but opening up relationships, receiving romance, receiving, you know, insights and ways to co-create with others. It just started to create a much bigger expansion for everybody that came into it. So I'm excited to be offering that again, and it's going to be a beautiful group. We already, I think I have 13 or 14 people already inside that container right now. So it will be a beautiful group of people that are ready to just all open and expand together. And we meet 6 times over the 40 days on Zoom, and then we will do a beautiful 10-minute meditation individually every day and journal whatever comes up for you inside of that meditation. And it's based on the book by John Randolph Price, The 40-Day Abundance Process. And I've been doing it for many years, probably since 2006 I started this process, and it's really, really beautiful. So as we now say completion, we thank all the guides, the master guides, the community, the great archangels, all the beings of light that held this space sacred. We thank you all, we thank you all, we thank you all. We are so honored, we are so blessed, we are so loved. And as we disconnect ourselves, we return ourselves into our golden orb of light, into our individual spaces. We allow ourselves to be completely back now inside our own body temple, in our own energy field, fully aligned to the earth, fully connected to the quantum, and so it is. Thank you, my loves.
Thank you.
I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Siobhan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.